Welcome everybody back here in the next arena. Merry Christmas, by the way. It's Christmas here in Seoul. And I know for some of you guys, almost all of you guys by now, it's probably past midnight, so it's Christmas for you too. So Merry Christmas wherever you are around the world. From myself, Brendan, Spo TV. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling great, man. We got a bunch of great games today. I'd say even better than the ones yesterday.
I think so too.
I'm just like, I don't know. I'm just really excited for the matchups today. It's very different. I mean, of course, we got the Chinese player Jim coming out against Maru first, and then we got my boy Dark against everybody's big boy Parting.
Big boy Parting, man.
And then the battle of the very aggressive Protosses in Myungshik versus San should be an action-packed day.
Yeah, definitely all the matches today will be really good. And I think it's really cool because we get to see a lot of different styles colliding. And in the first match is the one that I'm most excited about, to see that Chinese style actually clash up against the Korean style and Maru's own unique style of how he likes to play TVP. So that one's going to be my favorite match of the night personally. But definitely spread the word. Get out there and tell everybody to watch this. I know it's Christmas, so everybody's kind of doing their own thing. Some people are getting ready, wrapping presents, putting it under their tree. Getting ready for Santa Claus, and I know some people out there, eating with their families and whatnot. And some people are just trying to get some rest because the Christmas time is very busy and stressful. But
for you guys out there who just open presents, but you're like, no, probably in Europe, I would guess so. You're like, no, I gotta watch Starleague. Shout out to you guys.
Yeah, I know somebody's watching this on their new iPad.
Someone's out there. I know it.
Somebody just installed the Twitch app on their iPad, and they're like, oh my god, I have an iPad now, and I can watch Starleague. It's the best day of my life. All right, let's talk about the remaining round of 32 matches we've got left. Today's matches, Maru versus Jim, Dark versus Parting, and Myungshik versus San. And then tomorrow, 4 matches tomorrow. So 2 sessions starting at 3 p.m., so 4 hours earlier than now is where it's going to be starting. It's going to be Super versus Biel and Hero versus Byung, and then Younghwa and Leenock. And to round things off, the 2 GG timing guys, Fantasy and Marine King, battling it out.
Oh, no.
That game may never come to an end.
I didn't even realize that. That's so funny. Wow. Well, I'm pretty excited, actually, to get done with this round of 32 and get to those group selection stages as well. Just going to be very interesting to see how that's all going to pan out. But like we mentioned today already, the matchups for today, they're going to be Maru from Jinair versus Jim. He's on Invictus Gaming. And then we got Dark versus Parting. And then Myungshik versus San.
Yep. Definitely an action-packed day. Every single matchup has an insanely aggressive Protoss, at least one of them.
Yeah.
And San likes his aggression, but Myungshik likes to do crazy all-ins. And I'm loving that how he's excited to play his PvPs in that regard, but also I'm really curious to see how he's going to play PvP and if he's going to be using as many Phoenixes in that matchup as he likes to do in the others as well.
Yeah, that's a good point. He's pretty much only doing those crazy all-ins against Terran. Really going to be interesting to see his PvP style as well. For this one, I think this first one could be one-sided. I think you have a different opinion about this, but I do think Maru is going to take it, even though he is in a bit of a slump, like he did say in that preview video we had. And I'm also excited to see Dark and see how he does in individual leagues.
I'm feeling Jim, man. I get goosebumps actually getting excited for this match, and that is the cutest thing I've ever seen. All right, Maru. He's had a lot of problems with his wrists. He's actually been wearing these wrist guards actually since his prime days. Really likes to wear those just to make sure he doesn't get any carpal tunnel. And it's just something that's characteristic of this guy. You can see he's even got some bandages under there. So might be part of the reason why he's having a slump, maybe having some wrist problems. But you can see this guy is a very well-versed player. He won Season 2 of 2013 WCS. Did very well in the Hot 6 Cup of 2013. The end of 2014 wasn't as strong of a year for him. But he definitely never really fell off. And that stats list we had there was for individual leagues, but in Pro League he did very well as well. So, I mean, this guy is a very, very top Terran player. A lot of people are saying he's the best Terran in the world for a long time last year. Well, this year, technically, it's just really close to an end, so I always feel like it's 2015 already, but it's not. But very, very top-level Terran. And let's talk about this Chinese player. Jim comes from the region of all-ins, the region of cheese. You look at this player, you look at Taiwanese players, you look at Jim, you look at Max said, you want to look at Ian, you want to look at Haz. I used to practice a lot on the Taiwanese server, and they're all about all-ins. I used to practice with a player called Hui back when I had GM MMR on the Taiwan server when that was separate. and he ended up being one of the better players in TESL, if you guys follow that scene over there. These guys love aggressive play, and in PvT, they love cheeses. They love aggressive gateway timings. They like oracles. And I feel like Maru does sometimes have a bit of a weakness to crazy builds like DT drops.
Yeah, DTs, man. I always said that before. Like, even back in Pro League, even at the beginning, we were mentioning that, you know. I think it did come true, like, once or twice. So if Jim's paying attention, if he knows Maru and how he has a bit of trouble with that, he could actually take advantage of that.
I feel like Jim, I want to give him an advantage, just a little bit of an edge, because I feel like his style might be something Maru's not ready for. So King Sejong Station is the ban for Maru, which is really interesting. Perhaps some fear of proxies on that map, not really sure. And then Catalina, a pretty normal ban for Jim, but not banning Nimbus is going to be annoying for him because he's going to have to play that one in the very first set.
That first set, Nimbus, man. Then we go to Merry-Go-Round, Foxtrot Labs, Deadwing, and Overgrowth. So, yeah, I mean, we got Deadwing a little bit of a bigger map there, and then we go into a small map, and Overgrowth are one of our smallest maps. You know, you were saying with King Sejong Station, you know, there are a lot of areas to proxy, especially oracles can be annoying. And it's also a two-player map, so maybe Maru just wanted to ban out one of the two-player maps and kind of just let that, you know, just keep his distance from the Chinese style, I guess you can say.
Yeah, and that alone, I feel like, is at least showing that he's definitely prepared and has studied Jim. Got some foreign fans here.
Guy in left's like, oh my god.
We're on
They
camera.
always do this to me. I know I'm so handsome.
They always put me on camera. It's Christmas. I'm in Korea. Great place to be for Christmas. All right, Jim, our Chinese representative here against one of the best Terrans in the world. He says he knows he's in a slump. Let's see if he can turn around. Map number 1 is Nimbus. Here in the round of 32, the SSL. Brought to you guys today by Brendan and Wolf.
Up here in the top right on Nimbus in the red, the Terran player, he is Maru.
Very young player. Very experienced. And to the top left, all the way from China. For Invictus Gaming, it's Jim. And, you know, he and Max said, man, these two always end up fighting each other in every tournament they play in together. Welcome to hell.
Welcome to Korea and welcome to hell.
That was the nicest sign I've ever seen.
Wow. It was nice, and then it turned pretty evil pretty fast.
Yeah. Well, let's see if Maru is going to be able to make Jim feel like Korea is hell. Because Jim has had a lot of experience playing against Korean pros in other leagues. He and his teammate Max said always do incredibly well in Chinese tournaments, as well as WCG, which is actually basically Max said's home ground, where he actually ended up going pretty far, actually, in the last WCG we ever had, taking 3rd place, I believe, in that tournament.
And right off the bat, talking about Jim, he is actually going to go Nexus first. 15 Nexus. I mean, Nimbus would be the map to do it.
Yeah. Nimbus, a great map for that.
What is this Maru thing that everybody has?
Fly, better fly. There's that Nexus first, so Jim already changing up the style that he's known for and doing it, like you said, on a map that's great for it. Maru is going to do a standard opening, it looks like here. Most likely see a Reaper, especially considering that rally point.
Pretty interesting. You know, you were talking about kind of reading Jim's style and whether or not Maru would adjust to it. But it does seem like he is kind of just being safe and going with the Reaper opening, especially on a map like this. But Jim's like kind of turning it around. Maybe he's like, oh, I know Maru's going to play a bit safe against me, so why don't I take a greedy Nexus?
Yeah. Well, what works out for Maru in this case is that he's going to go ahead and SCV scout, and that's going to see where Jim is right away. And because he's going to scout also that it's a Nexus first, he's going to get really excited, and is going to be able to come over here and do some damage with this Reaper potentially while he expands safely behind. There is a bunker actually going down at the Natural. By the way, somebody came all the way from New York, then Paris, and then Gangnam. Hopefully not talking about Paris Baguette. It's right upstairs.
No, I don't think so, man.
Well, let's jump back into this game because there is a bunker coming up and a second one as well. First one does get canceled, but with this bunker up, he can actually really annoy Jim with this Reaper.
Yeah, just going to give him a place to run back to, have a lot of protection there. And it's going to be really hard for Jim to actually deal with that bunker. He's not sending the probes over there. Because he went for this Nexus first, he has to protect against the Reaper first. And the Reaper already gets 2 kills, really softening up a lot of these probes.
It's a lot of damage being done here. Now he's on the high ground, and he's just going to continue to abuse this high ground. Probes need to get away from there. That first Stalker is, of course, a long way away with the Cybernetics Core just finishing 4 kills on this Reaper. Don't forget, he has 2 Nexi, but a second Reaper now appears. And I feel like bringing these probes is almost unnecessary at this point.
Yeah, the probes aren't really doing much because the Reapers are fast enough where they can just run away and kite. It doesn't actually even make it that much harder to kite. Unless you're sending like 7 probes after it, it's going to be totally fine. And right now he is doing like way too much damage. You know, you were talking about the 2 Nexi, but he's already killed somewhere upwards of like 7 or 8 probes, and he's making another CC back at home because he's putting on so much pressure. So Maru's easily going to be able to, you know, come back in an economic standpoint from the damage he's done and from the greedy CCs he's taking.
Yeah. In total, 7 workers were killed. This bunker doesn't end up being too useful for Maru, unfortunately. It did kind of buy him a little bit of extra time to lurk around and be annoying. Cost him some money, but nothing too huge. But I like the opening for Maru a lot, and I feel like Jim, you know, I don't want to say he overreacted with his probe pulse, but definitely could have minimized the damage a little bit there. His micro was still really good, all things considered. Now Maru, with the 3rd CC, is going to have a weaker tech. He's going to have later drops. But obviously, like you said, his economy is going to bounce up really high here.
Like the building placement there, that Reaper actually could have walked behind the minerals and gotten a scout possibly on the Stargate that's coming up from Jim if the building placement was not as it was.
Yeah. Oh, this Stargate is, knowing Jim, probably going to be for delayed oracles here. But let's see what he decides to use this for, because he also might fear that Maru's going to follow up with some quick drops, and he might want to get some Phoenixes out and control the map with that. But just knowing Jim, man, I feel like we're going to see an oracle out of this in just a second. No doubt in my mind.
So let's see, just for the confirmation, it is an oracle here.
Yep, Stim on the way from Maru, and he's got his eBay cranking. So he doesn't have a lot of units, but plenty enough so far to deal with the oracle. And he's not made any turrets, obviously, because he hasn't seen anything just yet. Okay, there's the 1 turret here at the natural. I take it back. But because he has the turret at the natural and a ton of Marines at the main, he should be able to minimize the damage from this oracle pretty easily.
Looks like he's actually going to follow that up with a Phoenix. And Maru does go for the scan, and he catches the robotics facility, but he may see and notice the fact that it's a bit late than when the tech should come up. So he may be, you know, a bit suspicious about possible other tech coming his way. He's got his Marines already in position, so yeah, it seems like he's read this pretty well. They should be able to haul off that Oracle.
Yep, Oracle just getting 1 Marine kill, and losing only 6 hit points. So obviously not the damage he wanted to get done, but it's still going to be a threat that Maru always has to take into consideration. And it scouted the fast 3rd CC, and in response, Jim takes his own 3rd Nexus. Going to come over here, check around that natural, sees the turret, and he's just going to keep that Oracle as high of health as he can. Maybe a big scout over here on this SCV. He's just checking all over the map just to make sure Jim isn't hiding anything. Probably something that his coach told him, you know, just be careful against this guy. Check everything. Oh, no, he's going to lose that. Oops.
Yep, bit of a miss micro here. Out of that Stargate, he did make that 1 Oracle, and he's been continuously just making 1 Phoenix at a time, not really chrono boosting them. Maybe going for this Phoenix Colossi style, because he's already getting that Robo Bay up here as well.
Yeah, and with the Immortals coming out, that's going to give him a little bit of extra safety while he tries to do this very expensive, you know, tech path that he's going down with all these gas units he's making, the Phoenixes and the Colossi. And the Phoenixes are going to help shut down drops, which are so popular on this map because of that, you know, backdoor expansion being exposed. It's the only real way a Terran can assault a Protoss' base when he's still on 2 base. And I don't think Maru has actually scouted the 3rd base at all. I'm going to check that right now. Yeah, he has no idea. Has not even gotten a glimpse of it.
Yeah. Well, Maru, he finally does move out that 3rd CC to the low ground here, and he will start mining. And at the same time, he's going to put on some pressure. And maybe at this time, he will go check for that 3rd base.
I think
because
so.
He can definitely put on some pressure. If you look at the amount of units that Jim has right now, it's pretty much just an Immortal and 2 Stalkers. He's got 5 Phoenixes in the back, but this is a lot of bio. And 5 Phoenixes isn't really going to do this well against 18 Marines.
Huge stim here as he sees the third base. He wants to come in here and knock that down before any Colossi are ready. Wants to target that Mothership core, and he does get it, but not before the Nexus Cannon goes down. No sentries here for Gem, and he's going to lose his first Colossus, and things are going from bad to worse here as he loses his Immortal as well as his Stalkers. The Phoenixes are starting to fall here as well. Not enough damage output on those Phoenixes to actually shut this bio down. He's going to have to pull probes. A lot of damage lost here, or a lot of medevacs lost here, a lot of expensive units lost from Maru, and he will eventually hold this back, but this is a ton of damage.
He's getting so much damage done. It looks like Jim will finally be able to push this back, but again, he got that robotics facility, killed one of the Colossuses, and he's going to have a follow-up push here pretty soon for the kill.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Because Jim is now with no infrastructure. You might even want to consider making like a Void Ray or something, because he's got, right now in total, 5 gates. A few of those just finished up. He's got a decent amount of gas, but he wanted to be spending that on the Colossi. He doesn't have a Mothership core for Time Warps either. He doesn't have a Mothership core for Nexus Cannons. He's making a Forge right now, which is not going to be too helpful.
Maybe if he makes a bunch of cannons just out of desperation here and possibly holds that third, but I don't know. This is this quick follow-up push I was talking about. He's just going to streamline all these units across, and he's got a lot of Zealots in this mix, Jim does, but it's not going to be great against the Widow Mines here. Let's see the shots. They are decent.
Yeah, shots are pretty good. I mean, well, it's only one shot. The second shot is even canceled there to make sure that it doesn't get wasted. It's going to go off here in just a second. Boom. Decent shot there as well. And GG Jim knows he's done.
So, wow. I mean, Maru just identifying the situation, noticing that Jim was trying to tech too much while taking a third base, and he was like, oh, I can just kill this guy. He saw the amount of units with that one Marine, and he just, like, stimmed at the ramp. There were no sentries there. There was no protection. Maybe if he had, like, 1 sentry to force field the ramp and then had the Mothership core at the third, you know, maybe he would lose some probes, but he would have defended it much better once he got the Colossi out and stuff like this.
If his Mothership core control was better, too, and he didn't lose it in that fight, he could have dropped the Nexus Cannon and Time Warp to slow the push into the main, up into that ramp, which would have given him probably enough time for another warp in and to hold that off more cost efficiently, because his comp was almost ready. He was almost ready. Like, his Colossus was out. It was